Has anybody seen the movie Hot Rod? And that's a really funny movie. Rewatched it not that long ago. It's one of those movies I've seen like 100 times. I can literally quote the whole movie because of how many times I've seen it. Growing up, I used to watch it all the time.
I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day!
Oh! Man, he hit his ass with a parking cone, man. Nice.
God, I go to church every goddamn Sunday. You gonna bring the demons out of me?
There you go, you got him. Not with the trash can, buddy. No.
In fact, I watched it so much that I made myself sick of it. You know when you grow up with a movie and you watch it so many times, you kind of, you get sick of it. But then you go back and you watch it when you're older and you're like, actually, that was really good. That's how I feel about Hot Rod. For those that don't know, it's a comedy movie that came out in 2007. I think it was 2007 or 2008. It's the Lonely Island, Andy Samberg and all that stuff. What I like about it is that it's actually really well directed as far as comedies go. Like there's a really good video. I think it's by Just Right. I'll have to look it up. Hang on a sec. It's about Edgar Wright's movies, the guy that directed Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and all that. And it's called Edgar Wright: How to Do Visual Comedy. It's by Every Frame is a Painting. Every Frame is a Painting. It did a great video. In the video, he talks about how a lot of comedy movies, especially American comedies, like if you think of like a lot of Judd Apatow movies and Seth Rogen movies, which I like, but the biggest flaw in those movies is they're not very inventively directed. They kind of just set up the camera and let the actors do all the work, which is not necessarily a bad thing, by the way, but because those actors are usually really funny. But the thing with movies like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, they tend to utilize filmmaking in every aspect to communicate the jokes, not just the dialogue. I think one of the things I like most about Hot Rod is it kind of fits into that category where it's very visually inventive, and there's lots of like visual gags, lots of hard cuts.
Join your crew?
Can't join the crew, Richardson. Don't do anything.
Oh, don't I?
Funny sound design and all that kind of stuff. It was directed by one of the Lonely Island guys. I'll look him up. I actually can't remember his name. Hot Rod. 2007 film. It was 2007, I was right. It was directed by Akiva Schaffer, that's his name. He's one of the Lonely Island guys. But I thought he did a really good job at directing that movie. It also has a very distinct style compared to most comedies. Like, there's so many comedy movies that the soundtrack feels kind of random. Like they'll just put a song in when it feels necessary for whatever's going on. But the thing with Hot Rod is that the soundtrack, I think it's pretty much all Europe, like the band Europe. Yeah, there aren't that many comedies that have that much of a strong vision, especially for, I think, a first-time film director. Let me look that up. Yeah, Hot Rod was his first film. Yeah, there aren't that many comedy movies that have as much of an identity and specific style as that movie. That's what I like about it. But even the in the movie, even the original soundtrack that was composed for the movie is very retro and 80s sounding.
Speed management.
Yeah, awesome soundtrack, really well directed. It's also just a really funny movie. It's got a very irreverent, kind of random sense of humor.
Oh, Kathy.
It was unsurprisingly divisive amongst critics, and the Lonely Island and the the writer and all that, they expected it to be divisive. What's really tragic though is that it flopped. It was a $25 million budget, which is surprisingly high for a comedy, and it only made like $10 million or something like that. It's pretty wild. But that's what happens. I think the movie was badly marketed, because I remember seeing it when it came out on DVD back in the day, and it gained a cult following when it came out on DVD back in 2008 or whatever. I guess Andy Samberg, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think he's really funny in the movie. He makes for a really funny straight man, or lead character. Another thing I like about Hot Rod is that it's really violent. I forgot how violent it was, but violent in a funny, cartoonish way.
You are a
Another thing the movie does really well is that it kind of makes fun of a lot of comedy tropes and cliches, like the douchebag boyfriend that's going out with the main love interest, and he's played by Will Arnett, and he's purposefully really overdone, to sort of make fun of the cliche. It's really funny.
Denise tells me you're working on some pretty big time stuff.
Yeah, well, I've been doing stunts since I was a kid, so it's not really a big deal to me.
Yeah, me neither. I was just being polite, but thanks for letting me off the hook.
Jonathan.
Yeah, so Hot Rod. Awesome movie. Underrated, really funny. I would highly recommend it. Akiva Schaffer. He also directed, what was it called? The Watch, which I didn't actually see. He also directed Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. All of his movies seem to be flops for some reason. And it's a shame because he's obviously a pretty competent director, but for some reason he just, That's the thing with The Lonely Island. They're really popular on YouTube and on Saturday Night Live, but for some reason, when it comes to movies, they're like box office poison. I don't know why. Popstar Never Stop Stopping also flopped. It made $9.7 million on a $20 million budget, even though I got positive reviews from critics.